Joining us now, Anita McBride, who was Chief of Staff to First Lady Laura Bush. She is the author of the book, U.S. First Ladies, Making History and Leaving Legacies. So nice to see you, and I thank you, Anita, for being with us. I want to get to the historic nature of this in a moment, but first, tonight's speech, how might Doug Emhoff introduce Vice President Harris to voters in a way that no one else can?
No, it's a great question, and it's one where he has a unique opportunity to really tell the American public, to tell the voters what he sees up close and personal about a person who has a leadership role in our country, who has wrestled with the decisions that have to be made as vice president and potentially as president. It really is a window into a personal relationship and watching someone up close and personal in a way that no one else can do. There is a connection that I thought about today about how Laura Bush in 2004 at the Republican convention in New York, took the stage to introduce her husband and talk about how she watched him wrestle with some of the most difficult decisions. At that point, the president was unpopular with many people, being in 2 wars, and how she gave a vivid image of him walking the South grounds, wrestling with the decision to go to war. That's a unique perspective from a spouse that really softened the image people had of George Bush.
You have studied first spouses, and as we have already mentioned, Emhoff would make history as the first gentleman. Would you expect his role to be different at all than other recent first spouses?
It's a great question. Well, I tell you, those of us who follow the president's spouse or first ladies up to this point, of course, will be very happy that we probably won't be talking about their clothes and hair anymore. But I will say this. He has already carved out a role for himself as second gentleman. He broke ground already. I think we can expect to see him use that experience and adapt to this higher profile role in the same way. He's done it with confidence. And for someone who's come into politics relatively new, only in the last 10 years since he's been married to Kamala Harris, he's shown an adaptability to really manage the high profile and certainly the great stakes that there would be in the campaign that will kick off in a different way after this convention is over.
Indeed. I mean, Emhoff will also be the first Jewish first spouse. And as you say, they've been married since 2014. What role can family and that story play in the campaign?
Now, that's a really good point because, politics is a family affair. And he has already demonstrated, his interest, of course, in the issue of being Jewish, the anti-Semitism initiative that he's helping to lead for the administration. I mean, that brings credibility and authenticity to a topic that he certainly has carved out as his initiative and has said that he would be very focused on this if he were to become the nation's first gentleman. He already has experience talking about it. And I think what's really important to remember here too is would the president, his wife, support him in doing that? And all indications are that she would.
Anita McBride, so wonderful to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your insights. It's nice to see you.